I'm Daniel.
I'm Jay-Z.
And this is Just My DIY.
We have another super easy wedding DIY for you, and that is this customized card box. And what makes this so easy is that we're not starting from scratch. We're going to show you how to take something that is pre-existing and modify it to fit your wedding, your decor, your colors.
All you need to do is find yourself a box like this off of something like Amazon. You'll need a crafting cutter, maybe something like a Cricut, some paint, and just an afternoon or two.
Now there are a few tips and tricks that will make or break this project, and we're going to show you everything that we did to make this turn out looking so good. So stick around and we'll get started right now.
And so we move on to assembling the card box. We got this card box from Amazon, so there's a box and a box. But it has everything you need to put your box together. You can see it's all nicely packed and bubble wrapped. They give you everything you need, the tops, the sides, the acrylic, even the screws and a little screwdriver. So we get everything unwrapped from all of the bubbles and start assembling it. It's pretty straightforward. You just make sure that the slits on the uprights are facing towards the inside of the box. Basically, you want to follow the line of the walls. And of course, just tighten the screws down until they're snug. Don't over tighten, you don't want that to happen.
Of course, you're going to want to pull off the masking that is on the acrylic. That is on there to keep it scratch free, because acrylic can get scratched. So once you pull that off, you'll just slide these right in. Now, you don't have to fully assemble it. We are doing this to show you how the whole thing goes together, but we went ahead and fully assembled because we wanted to show you the box and get some measurements on it so we could size our vinyl properly.
Here it is, finishing up the last of the tops, the last of the screws on the top. And you can go like, oh hey look, it's a box that you put cards in. But now we gotta cut and apply some vinyl. So we're going to go ahead and measure the window that is actually available of the acrylic so we know what kind of space we're working with. And then there's computer stuff.
And that would be me. So I designed this using the fonts that we had for our wedding, and once we had our design made, we're going to create a rectangle inside Cricut that is the dimensions of the window first and foremost, so we can size our text appropriately. Now you will see I'm going to change this rectangle to a lighter color, and then I'm going to drag it behind the text. That's so we can size this on top of each other and decide what kind of positioning we like in this. Of course, we're going to blow it up a little bit more now, and first things first, I am going to highlight everything and then just align it all to center. That's what we're going to start from, but understanding that this phrase has a parenthetical at the bottom saying thank you, I decided that I was going to like this actually a little further down from center. Now I am going to change the size of the box because ultimately I want my weeding box to be the full size of the piece of acrylic. And so we changed this from the size of the window to the full size of the piece of acrylic. I'm going to get that right where I want it and then attach them and go to make it. Now I attach them because I want this weeding box. It's going to be very important for the alignment. Now our blade's a little older, so we are going to use a little bit more pressure. This is Caesar Easy Weed vinyl. I love this. Everything that we use will be linked down in the description, but this Caesar adhesive vinyl is just such a quality vinyl to use. So we're going to cut it down to size for us to cut on the Cricut. Of course, put it on a mat. We use the green mat for vinyl, but it's all going to depend on kind of where your mats are and their life as to how sticky they are. Load that right into the Cricut, and once it goes blinky blinky, give that a little push.
Blinky blinky?
The Cricut button blinks when it's ready.
So it's important to, before you release it all the way, test to make sure that your cut is cut truly and through and has a full release. If it doesn't, you push the C button again and let it go. But ours did, so we just ejected it and started weeding.
Our favorite.
Yay. Now, of course, here's our transfer tape. We're being mindful to try and align this to the top end side of the box that is cut out.
Yeah, so this is part of our alignment trick. So the bottom and the right side's not going to matter as much, but we need the top and the left side to be perfectly flush, perfectly straight to that weeding box that we created. So you'll see we put a lot of work into that.
So in order to get this down correctly, once we have those alignments, we're going to eventually get the backing peeled from the tape itself. Cut off a little bit of the backing, double check our alignment, and then smother it down in place. Once we have it in place, we can use our felt tip squeegee to just push the backing off out from underneath it, and maybe a little snip here or there to finish it off.
That gives us a nice smooth application. As you can see, we're doing all of this on the mat because it just makes it so much easier to make sure that your vinyl doesn't move. Now we're going to do just a little bit of trimming off here, but you're going to see we are going to get our paper cutter and we are going to trim a completely straight edge on that left side. Again, this is all to give us that alignment that we want. We're lining this up to where our weeding box was. Now we're going to be working on top of a self-healing cutting mat to give us extra alignment help.
Now you can see obviously through it, you can see how everything lines up, and that makes it a lot easier to see how your words are lining up.
It's just an extra check, really. Like, we know that the weeding box is square to everything. We're going to use our same trick here where we trim off a little bit of the backing, and we're going to use a felt tip squeegee. But you see we're using that straight edge on the left to make sure that we are lined up. So now felt tip squeegee down. We're going to peel the whole backing off here. That's to make sure that no vinyl gets stuck to the backing, nothing gets folded. We are good to go.
And then of course we'll use that felt squeegee to push it all flat and smoothen it out, but we are not peeling the transfer tape off yet.
And we're not going to press down too hard yet. We are using this as a double check. We see we had a little extra piece from the weeding here on that. And also this is the chance where we are looking through that acrylic to the self-healing cutting mat. Once we're sure everything's straight, that is when we did the extra pressure down. But as Daniel said, leaving that transfer tape on because now we got to place this face down and get to painting.
So as you see, it is reading backwards. That means it is face down. So we're going to take a bunch of painter's tape and kind of give us a little border to protect where it slides into the uprights of the box itself. And once we feel like it's taped well enough and polished,
we're just wiping off any extra dust. Now this is just basic acrylic paint. You can find it at any craft store on Amazon. Again, everything we link down below. The one thing about this is you're going to see your brush strokes when you're painting on clear acrylic. We're using that to our advantage. We had a beach wedding, so we're going with like wavy brush strokes. But as you'll see after this first coat, when we flip it over, they're really, really prominent. That will go away with extra coats, but just know that you will see brush strokes. So be mindful of what kind of stroke you're using. So once we get that first layer down, we're going to give it a check.
You can see pretty well through it. You can see like what all of the brush strokes look like. And we'll be adding a second layer. Again, we're staying with that brush, like that wave-like brush stroke effect. But, you know, giving it that extra coat.
And we're definitely being mindful of what we want our edges to look like because they will show. And just know this acrylic paint dries really quickly, probably within an hour, but that's all going to depend on temperature and humidity and that sort of thing. But once it is dry, we're going to use our favorite polyacrylic.
That's to help give it an extra layer of protection. Just to know that we're trying to stay on the paint and we're not trying to go onto the clear of the acrylic. It is a clear poly, but it will still kind of leave like an evidence behind.
Very true. And you want to protect that paint because as people are shoving cards down in this box, you just don't want it to nick the paint.
Before it's dry, we peel our tape back because we never let our paint dry fully before we peel our tape off. You do funny things to your paint when you do that.
It does. Cured paint's weird. And so the next day though, we are ready to then flip it over. And now we're going to peel our transfer tape off.
Now we're going to do a low slide. We just want it to roll right off, and this helps keep your letters on your acrylic while your transfer tape comes off nice and cleanly. See, we had a little tear there, but that was a quick recovery. Skilled hands at work here. And it's done.
Now do know you can reuse transfer tape if you want, so don't just throw that away if it's your first time using it. So now we're going to put it all together, slide that right in.
Put the top thing back on and screw it all down. Eventually we'll screw it down. There we go.
And again, tight but not over tight. You don't want to strip this because you are working with pretty much particle board here, and then putting that top on. Now, we did want a little something extra inside our box, so we put some driftwood in there because driftwood was a theme. This was kind of how we staged it here at the house to make sure we liked it, and this was how it looked at the venue. We love the way that this turned out and how well it worked with all of our other wedding decor. So we hope that you enjoyed this tutorial as well.
And if you did, you should give it that thumbs up. Of course, subscribe and ring the bell. Leave your comment card in the comment line and not the box down below. And know that everything that we use to do this is listed out in the description.
Also in the description, links to all of our social handles. Please connect with us across platforms. We love hearing from you. And don't forget that we are on Patreon now. So if you want to support this channel, just a few dollars a month will help us keep creating great content like this. So don't forget to check out our blog at justmightdiy.com, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.